So it's around like purpose. I've got this feeling for the past like week or two, that I'm like, oh, what am I doing? What's the point? Da, da, da. But not in a, I'm not, usually I've got that, but in a, oh, I'm not good. Where here is more like, I can see and I've got all my symptoms, i.e., I'm looking on Zoopla, I want to move. So that's the kind of, that's my, and it's fine, but it's more like, because I'm like, oh, my job. I almost told work. I was like, maybe I need to find another job that is a bit more meaningful. When in the end, they are like, if they watch that, oh please no. But like, they are the best, and just for that, I don't want to go anywhere. But it's like when you're, because I feel a lot of the things I was doing maybe before lockdown are not really happening because everything's closed, and a lot of things don't happen because, oh no, we don't want. And I don't know, I've got this whole thing of, first, like, do you have this sort of questions around like, so, and then what? Like, that I'm doing what I'm doing, but I feel I should be doing more meaningful stuff, more, yeah, I see Claire nodding, so I guess you should understand what I mean. Um, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Well, I was nodding along because I have that regularly. I mean, it comes up every so often, and sometimes I see that the idea of purpose itself is, made up, and we're sort of, anything can be purposeful that we decide. But I also regularly forget that and get caught up in thinking about spending my time doing something with purpose. So I don't I don't think I really have an answer, but I just have a, yeah, I go there too a lot.
Because when you say like it's made up, and I guess that's the thing, when you're really caught into something, you're like so into it and you feel, whatever job you do because you're like in it, so it makes sense. But now I feel, because I've got some space to sort of observe, now I'm like, well, it's interesting, it's challenging, I get like my brain going, and that's good because I know if I don't have that, I am, it's not, and anyway, I don't feel good. But I'm like, the point of it is it doesn't align with what I value. And so I'm like, maybe I should use my energy for something else.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When was the last time that you felt that you had a purpose, whether it's in this job or in a previous job?
Um, even like I got excited and doing the same thing, but it was just slightly different. Um, when I was, even when we were doing the thing for the fresh look at, I felt like it was, I don't know, there was something that potentially could, I felt it was touching all of us. And it was this idea that maybe it'll help other people.
And so when you said a second ago that you were still doing the same job, but you felt that purpose, can you talk
Well,
about that?
oh, you mean like, there's a thing at work, if you don't think about it, if I don't step back, if I'm in my thing and do it, it makes sense because when I look at a smaller level, because that's kind of what I need to do and my colleagues are happy and da, da, da. So in that little bubble that works. And but it's more when I look at the bigger picture of my life, sort of thing, you know then I'm like, well, um I don't feel it's when I look at Yanni, okay, he's helping kids and da, da, da. There is a bigger sort of impact than me like giving advice to marketing people so they can sell more on Black Friday, you know, like yeah.
I've had a bit of thinking around this. So after Jeremy died, my brother died, oh my God, I was on a mission. My life has to mean something. Because he's not here, my life has to mean something. And I got so cheapers, like looking exactly like that. What's the purpose? What's the point? What's the point of me actually being here? What can I do that's going to have an impact? You know, all that sort of stuff. And in getting so, and I don't even know what I did, but like it never, ever, ever reached up to my expectation of what I thought I should be doing or what I thought my purpose should be. And I've definitely had some insights around that lately, is that I really feel like the whole purpose thing is a construct that we've definitely made up. You know, it's this, because when you look at it, like you said, it's like, okay, well, I need to be making an impact in the world. I need to be doing something that other people can recognize as being impactful. Excuse me, I'm talking. Yeah, good girl. Out. That other, you know, I feel like the whole concept of purpose, from what I could see, was like an outside-in construct. Was like, okay, well, what do I think will create a change or whatever, an impact? But more importantly, what does it look like that from the outside? Does that make sense? So, but then what I've been seeing lately is actually that's just really busy mind thinking. Okay, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do the rest. And oh my goodness me, out, please. No. Sorry.
Okay.
So, but when we settle and we connect with ourselves and with love, and in our interactions with people, like, who's to say that our purpose isn't just to listen and follow what looks like it's inspiring and full of love and full of excitement and full of creativity for ourselves, and that isn't purpose enough? Am I making sense? So it could be that actually for me, or for someone, creating a beautiful garden just makes them fill up. So when they then go out into the world and have interactions with other people, they're feeling really close and connected and having an impact on that person, who then's having an impact on that person, who's having an impact on, do you know what I mean? We never ever know what our impact is in the world. So how can we decide on what our purpose is? I don't know. I've definitely seen something different around it, where I thought my purpose had to be a big thing that I could tell people, this is my purpose, this is what I'm working towards. Whereas now I'm like, actually, maybe that's not it. Maybe my purpose is just to listen and tune into whatever wants to come through and react and respond. Well, that's my thinking on it anyway lately, for today.
That's cool. Because I just feel, that I'm here. I'm sort of using the planet, you know, like I'm on there, but yet and that's it, you know. I feel like I want an exchange to happen, and I feel I'm using a bit of space where I live, and I, you know, get food, but like where am I putting back in, you know?
Well, I guess that depends on what you consider putting back in to be. So like to what Bron just said, which I thought was beautiful, by the way, so lovely. I never really thought about it that way. And maybe it doesn't have to be as tangible as what am I putting back, because you can be putting back every moment, every day, every interaction, you know, when, like, whether it's in your own little space where you do your gardening or whatever it is that you do, and you're growing your vegetables and you're giving back to the planet in that way, or whether it's in your interactions with Yanni or in your interactions with anyone else, like you're giving in that sense. So I guess it depends on how you define, like, maybe you've got an idea in your head of what that giving back has to look like. I don't know.
I don't know clearly, but yeah, for me it has to be like bigger. I don't know, like yeah, there is this thing of I don't know. Yeah, it's funny, and I know I've got this feeling um that come regularly. I guess that's why I moved to the UK in the first place. But I was living it as well as now. But um, but yeah, it's odd, pretty odd.
I was just wondering about insecure thinking just then, and I was thinking, is that driven by not feeling enough in yourself? Like the idea that we need to do more, or we need to be better, or we need to help more. That there's something in that that's saying you, Sandrine, are not enough just as you are. You're not perfect just as you are. This idea that you need to be doing better.
Yeah, or it's more, I feel it's this thing of I really feel I have energy and I've got energy for for more and for and I feel that I should decide how I spend my energy, and my current work is that because in the end I can decide to do whatever I want, you just go and pick. And I'm like, why don't I change? Why don't I do something else that would be a bit more aligned with that?
Where's that coming from? Is that what state of mind are you in when you have those thoughts?
I know it started when I felt busy, and so obviously, um, and I felt I had no time to do anything. Just I was just busy at work, um, which is silly because in the end I was really busy doing a lot, but yet I was like, oh, it's all meaningless in the end. When I do less, and then I have time to, I don't know, properly cook or like look after the garden, then go here and there. All of a sudden I don't have all these thoughts coming, which is funny. And it really feels like like the thoughts that look really true, and um I have to do something about it, right? But or maybe just gonna pass.
I love what you shared there, Lucy. That really, when you said just now about is it coming from not good enough? Like definitely for me, that's where my seeking for purpose comes. My like, okay, well, what am I actually trying to do? And I remember somebody saying to me, if you can see the path, it's not yours. So like when we try and figure out where we want to go, the end result, that's where we go to. It's like, okay, well, what would the end result of me being in the world in a purposeful way or whatever look and feel like? We can't know that ever, really, because you don't know, and I think what happens is we get so caught up in trying to figure it out in this busy mind that we just end up feeling stuck and going round and round and round, and it never ever works. God, I wish it did, because I do it every day, but but it never works, but so maybe it is like just knowing, when you get quiet and listen, and I'm losing it now. I'm so sorry, my children are really distractive today.
Oh, it's okay.
I guess I was also thinking that what could be more purposeful than sort of doing what we're attempting to do, which is
sort of get people to settle and listen to their true selves. I mean, that surely couldn't be more purposeful, if that's, you know, the way we decide to look at it. It's difficult, because I come from a family of doctors, and my father saved people's lives for a living, you know, and a lot of people's lives. So I've sort of had to wrap my head around the fact that my life might not be as purposeful. But I don't, yeah.
That's it. That's our expectation, isn't it? Is that a purpose is being amazing and doing huge things. Whereas who knows that, like, in your quiet mind, Sandrine, and I know you are one of these people who, like, you know, you probably recycle everything you can. You eat as naturally as you can. You know, and who's to say that doing those kind of things might not spark something in you to actually go and share, I don't know, information on how to recycle properly, or how to, I'm not saying this is you, but like, how's that not more, just as impactful as saving lives in the, you know, in the grand scheme? We make up that it isn't as beneficial or whatever, you know, or actually having this conversation about the principles, you know, who's to say that that isn't going to impact people to then be able to go and do what they want to do? I mean, like, it's just, I think we just make up this idea of what's more purposeful, and we're not doing it, so therefore we aren't living a life of purpose.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of something that Leela said about following your nose. Like, that's the best thing that you can do, is just follow your nose and just see what's in front of you, and go, kind of what you were saying earlier, Bron, about just what's right for me right now. Like, listen to your own, like, truth, that your own wisdom, and then just follow what comes now. And it doesn't have to feel like this really massive, scary, what's my purpose thing. It can just be, well, what's right, what feels right in front of me right now. Because that will inevitably always lead to something else and something else and something else. But we can't anticipate what that looks like now from here.
It's interesting. Oh, sorry, Bron. It's interesting that you say that, because I found myself this week having a lot of thinking around how do you let life just happen? And I kind of knew that by the fact I was having a how question, I'd lost the plot, as it were. But like, things just look so complicated to me right now. And yeah, I guess it is just about following what seems right in the moment. And yet we can so easily get lost in we can so often lose the sort of sense of that when we're caught up in trying to solve problems or figure stuff out. And I don't know, that was helpful.
And also forget what gives us that feeling. And what I noticed, Sandrine, was when you talked about gardening and cooking, your face lit up. And those seem to me to be quite purposeful things, but they may not be life-changing.
And I really see it over the past few days. I took the time, you know, just to do my simple things. And, well, I haven't been on Zoopla. No, but like, no, it's the thing. It's like, all of a sudden, I don't have this need to, like, change the world and change my world, sort of thing. Yeah, and because I felt like, I'm like, oh, anyway, it will come, whatever. I don't know, I've got this thing. Maybe that's the starting point. I always thought that I'll do something big. Right? It sounds really like weird, but like since I'm a kid, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna change the world somehow. It's like, and I always feel, oh, it will come. One day it will come. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna come if I just, you know, like, do tomatoes in my garden that are not turning red. You know, like. And that's the thing. Then, and I guess it's that, and then I try to figure it out, and that's not a good strategy, I guess. But, oh, I've got this feeling. I want to dive in a project and just go for it, but I can't pick one because there's so many things I want to do, and so then don't do anything.
I think that's so common. Everybody I know feels like that. But what just occurred to me while you were speaking was like, if it's true that we are all connected to mind, to a source that's given us life here, it sounds a bit whatever, but if it's true, then the fact that we are here in whatever form we're in is our purpose. And all we're doing is getting human about it and trying to figure it out. But we know, our understanding tells us that when we settle, something new comes through. And all these inspired ideas and stuff, that we have, who knows if those aren't the thing we're supposed to follow. But what happens is, as humans, we tend to jump on it. Oh, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. So, okay, fine. We get busy. Life's just ticking away in the background. Mind's just ticking away. Okay. Wait. When's she going to calm down again? When's she going to calm? Okay, let me put it back in there. Let's try. Oh, that would be a really good idea. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, no, but I can't do that. Oh, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, we do that all the time, don't we? And who's to say that that's, maybe one day we stop and we listen and we take action, or maybe we don't today, but whatever's there is just going to keep going. And actually, if it's true that mind is there directing us, it doesn't matter what the hell we decide we're going to do anyway, because it's going to kind of get us there one way or the other, or to something. I don't know. It's just, I was on a call this week, and because I've been thinking a lot about sort of this whole, like you say, having an idea and actually getting over your head to get it out there, because the idea comes with such a great feeling. And then we don't do it because of whatever. And often it's because I think it matters in the world. Like I think what I do actually matters, and what people think matters, and how it comes across really matters. But in the grand scheme of it, it only matters when I put my own attachment to it, my own thinking on it. Like if I make it matter, then it matters. But it doesn't really. Nobody else really cares. And if it fails, it doesn't matter. If it works, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? This call that I was on, like he showed a clip of a bunch of kids who were going to go and play football or something with someone. Anyway, the coach was like, yeah, the team that we're playing is absolutely amazing, got their own masseuses, they're really, really brilliant. They're going to kick our ass. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, when the girls come to choose the boys, they're still going to go for those boys, even if we win, because they've got all the money. So it doesn't matter if we win or lose, kind of crack on. And it was just like, actually, yeah, nothing matters until we make it matter, mean something and matter. It's been huge for me this week around this whole sort of, okay, well, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Okay, well, right now, I don't know. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and why I like that, Bron, is that it doesn't matter, is it means that you don't then go up into your head trying to work it all out, because when you're up in your head trying to work it all out, whatever you had that feeling or impetus for, it isn't going to happen from that feeling or that space. So it's what it not mattering actually allows you to do, which is keep an open mind and to what comes fresh, new, and when that feeling comes up, to go with it, as opposed to then make it matter. And then that often stops us in our tracks.
I also think that I know I've done this before, that sort of inkling that it doesn't matter, and this isn't what you're talking about, this is what I do when I get into my thinking about it, is that if it doesn't matter, then sometimes I end up not doing it at all, because sort of if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And I know that's my thinking, but I suppose I don't know, I suppose I've noticed it a bit in myself that you can sort of use this understanding in another way to like you can sort of misuse it, you know, to beat yourself up, or for not acting when actually maybe the time is right to act. I don't know, I've just noticed that in myself for sure.
Yeah, Claire, I'm glad, yeah, because it doesn't matter if mattering stops you from acting, from doing, from engaging. That's, I think, where the insight for me is. Yeah, it's not mattering about myself, because that's what stops us, I think, often. Yeah.
But it comes down to the feeling again, doesn't it? It's like, if the feeling is there that you want to create something and then you hold yourself back because of, oh, it just doesn't matter. You know, that immediately drops it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What it feels like to me is that I'll have a moment of that sort of inspiration with the great feeling, and then I'll act on it. And then I get insecure, so I take a couple of steps back, and then the feeling comes back again, and then I do a bit more on it, and then go a couple of steps more forward, and then I get it's like this constant this kind of thing going on, which there's nothing wrong with that, but when you get in an insecure state of mind, you sort of it's just another thing that you can beat yourself up about. But as you say, it's all in the feeling. It's just, I don't know, I guess I don't necessarily recognize the feeling as quickly as I could, perhaps.
It just sounds to me like that's human.
Yeah. Can you tell I've been caught up in a lot of thinking this week?
Yeah. And I think that human getting caught, you know, that, I mean, if you speak to anybody who's made any, you know, made up success that we think is successful, I think they all, you know, that's where the whole saying, like, feel the fear and do it anyway, like all these sort of sayings come from, isn't it? Is that everybody feels insecurity, but some people have just managed to not pay it less attention, maybe, or maybe work with it a bit, you know, okay, fine, yes, oh God, one of them days, okay, I won't do what I need to do, you know, but actually tomorrow I might feel that, or when I'm up, I'll do it, and then I'll know that this is going to come, and I'll just ride it out like a surf, you know, like a wave, ride it out, okay, oh, here we go again. And I suppose the more we know that that happens, the less effect it has, maybe. I don't know, I very much know what you mean, because, you know, I'm inspired, my inspiration comes in the middle of the night, and I can't sleep, and then by the morning it's gone. I'm like, oh no, I can't do that, no ways. So then I don't actually do anything, because I can't do anything in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean. But I'm beginning to see that that is my pattern. And actually what would happen if I went with what came through anyway, you know? So I wrote something this week and I shared it in a Facebook group. Oh my God, and the thinking I had around it was just horrendous. And actually, you know, and it was about this it doesn't matter thing. And about 6 people have said, I'm really glad you posted, it mattered to me, it's made me see something. So yeah, it might not matter, because actually once it's out there we are, we've taken what's been given to us, we've done something with it, we've put it into a form, and then we can put it out there in the world, and it doesn't really matter what happens with it then, you know, because it's come from an inspiration place, so you assume that it's needing to be here for some reason, and then just let it go and do its thing. And then maybe it will matter to somebody else, but to you, it doesn't need to matter if it flies or it sinks. because if it sinks, then there's potential for us to never create anything else again. You know, or if it flies, there's potential for us to get up in our heads about it and feel anxious about having to create the next thing that's going to be amazing. Because, you know, I think I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but there's like I think somebody said about Bruce Springsteen when he used to go on stage. Somebody asked him if he ever got stage fright. He said, no, never. And then the person said, oh, really? So how do you feel when you go on stage? He said, oh, I get really sweaty palms, feel like I'm going to throw up. I don't want to go on for like at least, well, isn't that stage fright? No, that's just how I feel before I go on stage. You know, like a completely different interpretation, isn't it? And it's just this energy, like performance energy, isn't it? We all get some sort of energy. It's either excitement or nerves or whatever, but we all get some sort of performance energy before we actually do anything. It's just what we make of it. I thought that was quite an interesting thing.
You know, I remember now. Sorry, I listened to half of what you said, Bron. I remember where that came from. Like a couple of weeks, we came back from dinner with Yenny, and it was this guy, this young guy, and it was asking for money to be able to stay at one of the hostels in Wimbledon. And we just had our phones, but not even carrying a wallet anymore because anyway. And so I actually like stayed and I had a bit of a chat with him. And anyway, and then anyway, we had a bit of a talk and he explained how he got there and his girlfriend was pregnant and da. And I was like, but like I was like, how did that happen? And he's like, oh well, I lost my mom, and then I lost the house. Da, da, da. And I was like, how? You know, it's like how, like for some people that's what happened, and for some, like when I lost mine or whatever, none of that happened. And I'm like, and then we were walking back home, and I was like, I felt terrible. I was like, how unfair is that? That I'm here, I've got the house and yeah, some people don't, and that's why I was like, oh, how do you do? What do you do? And I guess that's where I, you know what, I feel it's like I don't know why I get emotional on that. It's yeah, you feel like yeah, what do you do? Like oh, I guess that's where it came from.
But I would argue that what you did was you listened to him and you cared about his story. And that would have impacted him in some way, I'm sure. That you bothered to spend time to care. Maybe just that in itself is enough. But what you've done with that is interesting. The thinking around that. I mean, I don't know, you know, we'll never know how you impacted him. But you didn't dismiss him. You were interested in him. you've
Yeah.
taken. Yeah.
Yeah, but still I'm like, and then I'm back to my little life. And I don't know. Yeah.
But not quite the same way that you were before. Hence why we're having this conversation. Like it's
Yeah.
touched you and you're doing something with it. You're processing it. And who knows where that's going to take you.
You can trust your inner wisdom. You can trust that to guide you. So you're in this place right now where you've had a reaction to something and you're, like Bron said, you're processing it. That's going to happen for as long as it's going to happen. And then when you settle and when you get clear again, something will come up for you because this has touched you quite deeply. And I really, really actually relate to you, and everything you've just said really resonates. But you can trust in that truth inside you, that the right answer, the thing that you are going to do about it, or the action that you might want to take, or the way that you might want to change as a result, like that's not going to come from where you are right now. But you can trust that that will come when you settle. So you don't need to put the pressure on yourself to figure it all out right now, because you're in a reaction, and until that settles, you're not going to be able to see the path in front of you.
But then you see, like, even I had forgotten where that came from. It's just when Bron was talking, somehow I came back. And that's the thing, I feel like what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna eventually forget about it and carry on. And I don't know, it's like, you gotta go, Bron, no?
I do, but you guys don't have to. But I think that you know, probably the reason you actually took the time to talk to him is because somewhere previously that came. Do you know what I mean? Like the next time you see someone, you're likely to talk to them too. You know, I don't think things happen to us and they happen to us and they fit into the fabric of who we are. We don't know how it's going to help us shape us who we are, but it does. Every interaction does, you know. And like the love that's just coming from you, and just even noticing that it's just huge. Like it's massive. It's not just going to go away. So would you all like to stay on it? Yeah, sorry, Lucy.
No, I was just going to say, just trusting that, like Shazia says, is moving away from the insecure thinking. Like if you trust that what will be in relation to that, then the path will reveal itself. Where it sounds like we're all, you know, there's a lot of talk today about being in the should be's and what ifs and the sped up thinking, I suppose, that's not going to give us the answers.
Bye, Bron. Bye.
I also have to go in 5 minutes, so I'll just go.
It feels, Sandrine, like everything that's being said is met in your mind with a yes, but. which makes a lot of sense. And to notice that, I think, is half the battle. So the fact that you know that right now your snow globe is quite shaky helps, right? Because it's like, it doesn't matter what we say to you at this point, you're going to come back with a yes but, because that's where your mind is right now when you're in insecure thought. So to realize that takes a little bit of the pressure off, because it's kind of like, okay, this is where I am right now. And your mind will settle. And when it does, you might even come back to this recording and watch it again, and it might spark something different for you, and you might hear something different. Because right now, it's kind of irrelevant what's going on up here for you, because it's coming from an unclear place, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, completely. And that's the thing, over like, yeah, the past weekdays, whatever, I could really see. I was like, oh, here you go. I'm a bit in caught up. And I remember, Claire, you said one day where you had one of the call, and it was just weird to listen to. And today it feels a bit weird. I really struggled to get into it. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what Claire was experiencing the other day. It's just, it feels like, yeah, but it really feels like that. It's so funny.
And how does it feel knowing that now?
But that's the thing, I kind of knew I was a bit caught up with that. And that's why it's not like big surprise. And that, I think that's why I haven't really feel down. I just see it, but I'm not too, I don't know, usually I really need to shake things and to do something to fix and change and whatever when I feel caught up like that. Where this time I'm kind of, well, like, I'm joking about it more than, because I know me wanting to move, for example, is like, okay, it's no, and I don't take it too seriously. I still indulge and do it because I know that's, anyway, it's like that. But I don't feel so much I have to act on it, sort of thing. It doesn't feel as urgent as it would usually, because I just know that it will pass, and it's just, yeah, I can see what it is. Still, it feels, a bit real, and I feel I want answers, but yeah, it's not, it doesn't feel as strong.
I feel as well that in the last few weeks I've found myself questioning, does mind actually always have our back? Is that actually true? And I feel like I'm in this kind of place of experimenting with it a little bit at the moment, because until you feel it for yourself, I guess it's natural to periodically doubt it, because in a way, I guess I kind of, well, maybe it's just I get insecure and then doubt whether that's the case or what have you, but I don't know if this is a similar kind of thing, but it's almost like, oh, I don't really know what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess I just got insecure about it all, but I feel like I want to test it out whether it's actually true or not.
How does that look when you're in clarity?
Well, I would know it to be true, but I think where I question it is then looking around and thinking, well, okay, but this is funny because it always comes back to me, doesn't it? Like when you're insecure thinking, it always comes back to like where I am and what's happening to me. But sort of like, I trust that to be true, and yet I don't feel like I'm thriving. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel quite stuck in many ways. So it's like, if it really has my back, where is it right now? Buried under a ton of thinking, I suppose, but Which I guess it comes back to the fact that life is really difficult when you're trying to figure it out, right?
I'm not saying anything, I've just got butts to my head. That's all.
It is interesting though, isn't it? You know, when you're in a clear state of mind, how many possibilities you see and how easily things seem and how stuff does just happen. And then when you get caught up in stuff, just it's the polar opposite of that, how difficult it seems and how many problems you seem to be encountering and how you don't really know what to do. And I suppose we have to have both, don't we? We can't just have the one always.
When you're in that insecure side, do you ever acknowledge and become aware that you're in it, and does that change anything for you?
Yeah, I do, but I think often it's an intellectual thing. It's like, oh, I know I'm caught up in my thinking, but yeah.
But isn't it, I don't even know how I'm going to say this. It isn't, can't it only be intellectual when you're caught up in your thinking? Isn't that the nature of being caught up in your thinking, is that it's intellectual?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And there's definitely, like, I've got a situation at the moment that's sort of impacting my life quite massively. And when I'm caught up in the problem, there's no creativity whatsoever, none. And then every now and then I let it go. And I can see other ways of dealing with the problem. I mean, it's an ongoing problem that really only be solved by, one thing. But in the meanwhile, there's other ways of managing it. But if I'm caught up in the kind of, oh my God, it's not selling, I've got no money, da 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 da, blah, 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 it's literally just a hamster wheel of horror. And then when I step off it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's other ways of earning money in the meanwhile to pay the and suddenly everything frees up. It just kind of opens me up for the creative part. Yeah. And it's quite clear to me. It's quite a good example of, how to, how I'm creating this same problem, different way of managing it. I've actually got to go. Sorry, guys.
Good to see you, Lucy.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I have to assign a new host. Okay.
Oh, and she's gone. I don't know if she meant to do that.
Funny.
Anyway, thank you guys.
Oh, I really enjoyed listening. It was a really good call to listen to. Yeah.
How are you feeling, Sally? Because I feel like I haven't been on the last few calls. When you felt.
Yeah, I think I've come out of my thought storm.
Yeah.
Feeling clearer and calmer. So yeah, definitely feeling in a more resourceful place and not minding so much when I'm not. And that's kind of a much better place to be. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's so funny how different life can look, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to believe sometimes that you're the same person having such different experiences. And I suppose if you don't know what's going on, that's what makes everything seem so confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's so weird because, yeah, and I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my God, since like June, I've been riding this wave. I'm so good, like, and obviously nothing has changed. But yeah, I've got all this, oh, I need to change something. Not good enough, or it's not, yeah, I need to do more. And it's so weird how like that all of a sudden, and then there's, yeah, it has to sort of thing. There's this feeling of, it's really weird.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Claire.
Well, just sort of a similar thing, really. I feel like I've been having a great time over most of the summer, and then a few weeks ago, someone in a work context made a decision that has impacted me, and from that moment, it's like I've spun into all these problems. So it's like it's the same thing. However, to me, it looks like there's an external thing that has been causing where I am currently, kind of thing. And even though I know that's not true, sure as heck looks like it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've come to see it looks like it until it doesn't. I think that's what happened with me over the past few weeks.
And it's so tempting, isn't it, to want to do something to change it, and yet the whole thing is not doing. And yet when you're in it, you just so desperately want to do something.
Yeah, have something be different. Yeah. When the thing that will be different, that will make the difference, is the change of thought. Yeah. But that kind of natural thought change arising, as opposed to, trying to make yourself think different thoughts doesn't work, I found. Yeah, you're right. It's a change of a state of mind. It's a kind of, when your state of mind changes, then from that state of mind change, come completely different kind of thoughts and feelings.
It's funny because I knew I was a bit caught up, but I feel like talking like now with you guys, I'm like, oh my God, I'm maybe a bit more caught up than I thought. And I remember over the summer, I was like, oh, I can't wait for the next time just to like, and now I'm like, but now I'm like, oh, maybe I'm really caught up. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Then, I get to play with it. I'm crazy. But I'm almost excited. I was like, oh my God, that's what I was waiting for. Anyway. It's so good. Anyway. It's quite good in the end. I'm really happy. I just realized that now. I was like, oh, finally. A bit of experimentation to do. All right, ladies, gotta go to the market.
Yeah.
And have a good weekend. Thank you for being here.
It was really nice to see you and spend time with you. Thank you. Yeah.
Take care.
Bye bye. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.